G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show, and this is Six Nations review, France versus Italy. Man, this is like literally watching the Rocky movie, right? Because, you know, the Italian stallion has known to be on the ropes for the most of his fights, only to come back win at the end. And the Italians they were gonna do exactly that in this game against the French in France. And boy, they had their opportunities. There was a red card against Jonathan Danty at halftime, and it was looking like a miracle could be happening. They were under the pumps for a tremendous amount of time, pretty much the entire first half, and they were able to hang in there. And then finally, second half, with 14 men on the field for the French, you sense that the Italians were probably gonna squeeze a miracle out. And finally, there was 1 second left in the clock. Italians got a penalty pretty much right in front of the goalpost, and you think that miracle is about to happen. And boy, yes, the only thing that's more exciting than miracle is I guess controversy in a game of rugby. So yeah, let's have a look at what happened. Let's see why this was a draw and not a win for Italy. So let me get the screenshots up here, right? So first up, right, this is not that difficult of a kick for Pablo Garbisi. It's not, this could be like an 80%, 90% chance to get this one. Pretty similar position to Donaldson, who missed the kick against Italy to lose the game for the Wallabies. But anyway, so this is a pretty easy kick. So what was happening was, as the shot clock was running down, the ball got knocked over. I don't know where the wind came from, like some magical wind from the crowd, right? Everybody started blowing from one side of the stadium, and then the breath from the French crowd blew the ball over, right, somehow. And then this player looked like he rushed up, and then the ref was like, no. It's not over. He can take the kick. Still got 40 seconds on the clock. And then Garbisi put it up again. You can't see with the boys, but the boys literally where the referee is standing right here. And you can see here, Cyril Bai, let me just zoom in on him, actually started a charge. He's charging towards the ball here. And then he stopped. As his teammates like, no, don't do it. As the shot clock is ticking down, right? That should have been a re-kick for Italy. Because you're not allowed to do that when the kick is lining up for the kick. You're not allowed to do a little run-up like this. Even though you didn't actually charge the ball down, you're not allowed to do any movement like that. You're not allowed to jump around. You're not allowed to wave your hands around. You're not allowed to run around. Like, especially not allowed to feint that you're going to do a charge down. That should have been a re-kick just based on that. I know the referee has a lot of going on at the moment on the field, but that is 100% a re-kick for Italy. And, this one here, that's actually okay. Because the ball fell over. He thought the kick was over because there was a shot clock. He thought maybe the shot clock's over. That could have been a mistake. And the referee said, no, which that's actually fine. That's actually not an issue. But this movement here is 100% illegal by Cyril Bai. This little run-up where he did, this is absolutely illegal, and this should have been a retake based on that. The referee should have probably, after the ball's gone out dead, probably should have gone, hey, hang on, let me have a look at what's happened at the end. But I don't think the referee realized this. He wasn't paying attention, but this is definitely not allowed. But yeah, I think referee missed that. I did think that Italy probably got screwed a little bit there by the referee. But with that being said, right, watching Italian play is one of those things just, I don't think frustrating is the right word to describe watching Italy play. This was a pretty frustrating game for both teams. Like, there was so many it was 20, how many handling errors was there? 20 handling errors for France, I think. 20 handling errors for France, 17 for Italy. So this was a really frustrating game for both teams. But with the Italians, sometimes you're watching it, it just almost feels like the decision-making on the field is like amateur levels. And that just adds, like, really compounding the frustration that, whilst watching an Italian game. I'll just give you an example here, just for this kick here. This just stuff that, a professional team would not allow. Like, if this was the All Blacks, this would never have happened allowed to happen to the All Blacks. Okay, I'm not talking about the Cha-Cha, but I just want to show this. Notice where the kick is taken, right? Where the referee is. It's here. It's just about 5 meters from this point here. It's here, right? It's definitely closer to the 10-meter line than to the 22. That's where the ball was taking the kick. The actual penalty happened, believe it or not, about 10 meters ahead, about here. Okay, so I'm going to show you another screenshot. So the overall TV camera like cut away, so there wasn't an exact spot where the breakdown happened, where the rock was. But so the camera just got like cut away just before the tackle was made. But this is basically where the tackle was made, like right around here. Right around, because this is where the tackle's made. Just the rock is right around here. Okay? As you can see, the Italians lost about almost 10 meters from their own kick. The kick is here. The actual breakdown was here. Right? The kick is here. So they lost 10 meters. And that's not because they decided to take the ball back to give them more angle, because this is a pretty straightforward kick. You don't need to take the ball back for a better angle. That is because the Italians were celebrating and everybody was patting each other, was hugging each other, kissing each other, right? And nobody was paying attention where the penalty actually was. And basically the French just like, yep, probably there. And the referee was like, yeah, it's probably where everybody's standing, and just giving the penalty here instead of where he actually was, which was another good almost 10 meters ahead. That's one of the that's just amateur stuff. If this was the All Blacks, the penalty would be taken at the 22-meter line. Okay, just kidding. But like that's the professional, like that's the mindset of like a winning team. You want to get the ball closer to the try line by trying to slowly push the ball forward as everybody's been distracted, and then take the penalty a couple yards closer to the goal line, right? That's what you wanted to do. Instead of everybody celebrating, nobody's paying attention, and the ball gets rolled back 10 meters, and you didn't even realize, and the referee didn't realize this either, right? The referee probably thought you want to take the goal here. The referee's not going to tell you, hey, you should take another 10 meters closer. The referee's just going to get, that's you're allowed to take the ball back. I don't care. And the Italians just like that's the, like amateur stuff, like that, really frustrating, right? That's just not the only one for the game. There was so many stuff where the Italians was just like brilliant, and they just make like amateur decision errors, right? Like there was one just before half time, they were under the pumps inside their own 22. One of the players take the quick tap from a penalty. Like that is just like really, you didn't want to do that. Luckily he did get another penalty, not from offside, right? But from the French player not being disciplined on the breakdown. Like the French made the mistakes themselves, completely unforced mistake. But yeah, just like, you don't need to do that in a time like this when you're under so much pressure. And another one as well, like just before this penalty was given, even the commentator was like, yep, this is pretty straightforward stuff. You go for the line out, you go for the maul, you try to draw as many defenders in as you can, you probably try to get a more penalty, and then you go from there, right? They had a penalty, they went for the line out with a 4-man line out and had the line out stolen. And the commentator's just like, this is just like elementary stuff. Why did you decide to go for a 4-man line out when you have a 1-player advantage where you can easily squeeze out a penalty here with a maul, right? Like it's just, but like even the commentator was in disbelief why they made these sort of decisions. So like, it is really frustrating. I think the Italians, the both teams probably had themselves to blame for the result. The French came out absolutely ferocious in the first about 30 minutes or so, and was just handling errors everywhere. And I think it's a little bit unfair to say that, oh, it's because, Luku isn't quite the same level as Anton Dupont. It's really unfair to say that, what's his name? Matthew Jalibert is not the same level as Romain Ntamack. But like, it's like you have 15 players on the field. It's not just 2 players that's making the plays, right? I mean, the Irish don't have Anton Dupont. The Irish, the All Blacks don't have Romain Ntamack playing fly half for them. So you can't just blame the whole thing to the lack of Dupont or the lack of Ntamack. The overall structure of the team, the overall attacking of the team was just really lacking. Like it's it's almost like they were just. It's almost like they didn't really transition without the season without Dupont. It's almost like they just went out without Dupont. We're just gonna see what happens. We're just gonna, they didn't have a plan B. Essentially, they just went, we're just gonna go with it and then wait for Dupont to come back and everything will be good again. Which is the approach with the French team, and I really don't like that because it's like Dupont could get injured going to the Rugby World Cup. Like the jaw issue, he could have that again. Now what are you gonna do? All right, this is a perfect opportunity for the French to develop a game plan outside of Antoine Dupont, and they just didn't do it. They just had nothing. They just went the most basic rugby that he could find on the planet, and then just like, well, let's see what happens. We don't have even if you can, try get Luku to play the same style as Dupont with the kicking game and so on. At least you can try it if that's really what you want to go for, right? Not even a try, not even like a attempted, crossfield kick or whatnot. Just most basic stuff you can find in a rugby playbook, right? And that's really supporting if you're a French fan. I was really disappointed to see that, and so that is pretty much the French could have been way ahead if it wasn't for the handling errors. Could have been giving themselves more opportunities if they played a bit more expensive style as well in the second half. But yeah, this is what it is. And, Italians, it's unfortunate that the referee didn't go your way. But, the decision-making there could have been a bit better as well. With that being said, so my I guess, rating for both teams, I think the French was probably a 3. Okay, it was pretty bad. It was 3 out of 10. The Italians, I would give them probably a 6.5, 7. Considering they're playing against 14 players, I really felt that the amount of handling errors they were giving away, and then just some of the decision making as well. They did get screwed a bit, but I think probably a 6.5 for the Italians for their performance for tonight as well. But let me know your thoughts on those ratings. Let's have a look at some of the stats of the match. So match stats. 1 trade apiece. Run meters pretty high for both teams. 454 to Italians 432. The Italians definitely caught up in those run meters in the second half. And and really made a comeback. Turnovers conceded 19 against French, 11 against Italians. A lot of those turnovers were considered in the first half. Like I said, 20 handling errors against the French to the 17 to Italians. Missed tackles. The French defense was quite good. 18 to 11. Italian was not too bad either. 178 tackles, 33 missed tackles. Like in the first half, it was just brutal. Just Italians tackling all day. And it was just on the receiving end for pretty much the entire first half. Let's start talking about kicks in play. 24 for French, 22 for Italians. Very basic stuff kicking. That just no kicking unless you definitely unless you almost have to sort of thing. And knowing that the Italians have a pretty weak kicking game, I was really surprised that the French didn't exploit it a little bit more and didn't didn't even try to play a bit more space, didn't try to exploit the space behind the Italian team a little bit more, especially the Italian defense was rushing up quite quickly and getting a lot of really good effectiveness in shutting down the French for getting over the advantage line. I thought, putting on a bit of a kicking game there would have been great, but none of that really happened for the French. Line out, 1 loss each for both sides, 15 to the overall for France, 14 for the Italian. The scrum was overall dominant for the French as well. 3 scrum loss against the Italians. Only 1, I guess, technical issue for the French lost. But it was overwhelmingly dominant. Antonio Uni was just incredible in his work over the Italian scrum. And with that dominance, you really should have converted that into more points. And, maybe have that as one of your key strategies for this game to try to, squeeze out more advantage out of that scrummaging, but wasn't able to have a game plan around that for the French either. Penalty count 12 overall, 1 red card for Jonathan Danty. Just quickly look at that moment, head on head, everybody up high. That is a red card. That's probably a 4-week suspension. I think he's already had a history of red cards, so he might be looking at 4 or 5 weeks. He might not be able to play the rest of the Six Nations, to be honest. Jonathan Danty, as a result of this. But we shall see. So really not much to recap about in terms of this game. Very little actually happened in terms of play. So right from the get-go, in terms of recap, the French just absolutely pounding the Italians, quick ball, handling errors everywhere. They kept it really tight. 7 minutes into the game, like basically would just like pop the ball off the ground, pick and go by the forwards, or like just really tight running through towards the try line. Eventually, Olivon got a ball pop up from his teammate. I think it was Wildkard that popped up to him, and then he just like crashed over the next to the post. Try time for the French, and then just keeping it tight, kind of minimize those handling errors a little bit. 13 minutes in the game again. The Italians were under the pump. France wasn't able to get any try per se due to their own handling errors, but they did get a penalty, so they were happy to take the 3, take the scoreboard out to 10 points to 0. Just before halftime, again, there was a lot of handling errors following this for the France. The Italians would just absorb so many, stopped so many like opportunities for the French to score just based on putting pressure on the French attack. 43 minutes into the game, like I said, head-on-head collision against Donti, Wildkard, and Italian. This was already in the red at halftime, so Italians kicked 3 points to go to into halftime, 10 points to 3. Second half starts immediately. 4 minutes into the second half, the Italians gave away the penalty. The Italians' discipline was actually pretty good overall, not really giving Ramos any opportunities to kick goals, and this was one of the very few opportunities they got. So France kicked 3, 13 points to 3, just start of the second half. So the Italians, with the play in the beginning, was finally getting a bit more momentum. 69 minutes into the game, the Italians had a scrum inside their own 22. Again, the Italians, I don't know if this was, you could say this was brilliant. You could say this was, you could say this was brilliant. You could say this was just like, say, frustrating, poor decision making. But the Italians decided to run the ball out of their own 22 from their own scrum. Okay. So turned out this was a great decision because I think the French was probably, the French was probably expecting kicks. So Italians was able to run from their own 22 all the way into the French 22 from following this. And just really able to, quick pop ball, quick, turn around at the breakdowns, and was able to just keep the ball rolling forward. And then, it only took about 7 phases to get into the French 22. And then, sure enough, the French defense was a little bit out of position. The ball went out to Varney, I think his name was. What's his name? Varney. He drew the defender over the top. Garbisi got the ball. He still had one player wide as well. Nice little overlap. Penal was still out of position. Try time for the Italians. This kick was right from the sideline pretty much. And Capuzzo kicks this one. So levels to take the score back up to what was the score? To 13 points apiece. Oh yeah, sorry, there was a penalty before this, a 60-minute mark. So Garbisi kicked that one. So yeah, he kicked this conversion from the sideline to level the score, 13 points apiece. And then what sort of happened? Right at the end, it was just really frustrating for both sides. Penal was the only one seems to be trying to getting behind the advantage line, trying to do a bit of kicking behind, with to no result. But eventually, Zuliani got the turnover for the Italians. Everybody was celebrating, not realizing they've lost 10 meters during the celebration to where the penalty was given. And then, the fake charge down to the ball got knocked over and then the Cyril Bai run up should have been a retake, but a referee didn't see it. Yes, the ball hit the goalpost, and the Moefana basically was tackled out of bounds, and that was it. 13 points apiece, a draw between France and Italy. Yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game, guys. Let me know your ratings for the game. I thought this game was not that great, to be honest. Probably a 5 out of 10. If Italy had won the game, it would have been a much better result, much more enjoyable. But yeah, it was very frustrating to watch for both teams. Lots of handling errors. And let me know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks to the guys who are channel members. Thanks to anybody who donates money to me and Patreon. I really do appreciate it. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you guys next week in a couple of days for the news, and then Super Rugby this weekend, no Six Nations, and then next week we'll have more Six Nations review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys. Cheers.